It's not often I get to bring you good news for a change, so I'm just going to shower you with it today. Test and Go, back on. More Sandbox destinations added. Alcohol sales, 11 p.m. That is all coming up in today's program. You're watching Thailand News Today, bringing you the top headlines in Thailand and beyond. And in today's news, you heard it, Test and Go is back on. And vaccinated travelers will be able to register for almost quarantine-free entry to Thailand starting February the 1st. There have been slight revisions to the rules, now requiring travelers to have proof of their hotel booking on the 1st and 5th day of their stay in Thailand when they undergo PCR tests. At its general meeting chaired by Prime Minister Prayut Chan-o-cha, the CCSA agreed to reopen registration for the entry scheme. The measure needs to be published in the Royal Gazette to be made official. Entry under Test and Go is open to travelers from all countries. Those who are fully vaccinated against COVID must apply for a Thailand Pass QR code to enter the country. Travelers are required to take a PCR test on arrival and stay at an approved hotel for up to a night while they wait for their test results to come back. And now travelers will need to book a stay at an approved hotel on their 5th day in Thailand for their second PCR test. A spokesperson says travelers do not need to stay at the same hotel, adding that they can travel throughout Thailand in between their tests. So here are the new requirements for Test and Go. A spokesperson at the CCSA's press briefing says infections have increased but are going at a manageable rate and are now stabilizing, with trends suggesting a decrease very soon and the rate of fatalities relative to the Delta variant quite low. The CCSA also decided to add more destinations to the Sandbox entry program, which allows vaccinated travelers to enter specified areas and roam freely for a week instead of undergoing a quarantine period at a hotel or facility. Trad's Got Chang was approved, as well as Chonburi's Pattaya, Khao Sinang, Na Jom Tien, and Bang Sare. Those who are unvaccinated must still enter under the alternative quarantine program, which requires travelers to isolate at an approved hotel or resort for 10 days and undergo COVID tests before they can be released. Restrictions are easing in 25 provinces following a revision to the color-coded zoning based on local infection rates. Those provinces have moved orange controlled zones to yellow zones under surveillance. The blue zones, which are approved for pilot tourism programs, have remained the same and include Bangkok, Chonburi, Kanchanaburi, Krabi, Nonthaburi, Pathum Thani, Phang and Phuket. The zoning revision goes into effect January the 24th. Alcohol sales at restaurants at yellow and blue zones have been approved until 11 p.m. Meanwhile, the state of emergency, which was put in place in March of 2020, was extended for another 2 months. The decree gives the government sweeping powers through the establishment of the CCSA to set restrictions and measures to combat the spread of the coronavirus in Thailand. A former police chief charged with murder after a drug suspect died when multiple plastic bags were placed over his head during questioning says he just wanted to scare the victim. Thitisan Uttanapon, aka Joe Ferrari in Thai media, a police chief in the northern province of Nakhon Sawan at the time, told the court that he never intended to kill 24-year-old Jirapong Thanapat. Thitisan, along with 6 alleged accomplices, all former police officers, are all on trial. The defendants say they posed as customers in order to arrest Jirapong and his wife on drug offenses in August last year. Thitisan admits to having placed plastic bags over the suspect's head while he was under interrogation, but insists that this was merely an attempt to scare him. Captured video footage, however, shows Thitisan with his subordinates placing 6 plastic bags over the man's head while tying his hands behind his back, which led to his suffocation until he died. The police station's CCTV footage was leaked by a junior officer whistleblower. The video of the botched interrogation and torture went viral, shocking viewers of the violent police treatment of a suspect. Titisan and 6 other officers were subsequently arrested and charged in the investigation. Titisan is also being investigated for his role in the seizure, resale, and ownership of high-end cars. The former police chief earned the nickname Joe Ferrari as a result of his collection of luxury vehicles. His assets, which were seized as part of the investigation, also include a 57 million baht mansion in Bangkok. In total, investigating officers have seized assets valued at 130 million baht, including 24 cars valued at 70 million baht, a condo worth 1.5 million baht, and 18 guns worth 720,000 baht. The next hearing will take place on March the 16th. Thai authorities rescued 40 elderly people who were kept in poor conditions at unauthorized care facilities in Bangkok. Some were abused and even put in shackles. Thai authorities raided 2 centers in Lat Krabang and Nawn Chok districts, which were both owned by the same person, and discovered residents squeezed into tiny rooms and some residents even in shackles. When authorities contacted the residents' families, they said they selected the centers because their prices were lower than those of other elderly homes. The woman who owns the centers had previously ran an elderly home in Cha Cheong Sao province, which was shut down after one patient died from COVID. Authorities found out about the centers when a person visiting the Lat Krabang home while applying for a job there notified them of the conditions he saw. He said the building was overcrowded. One doctor at the Department of Health Support said the Lat Krabang building appeared to be under construction, the facilities were not licensed to operate, and the hygiene level did not meet standards. Authorities placed the residents whose families could not be reached in temporary state-run elderly care. Thailand's pork price crisis is causing an increased demand for chicken, leading poultry and egg prices to surge. The Ministry of Commerce has now added chickens and chicken meat to their price control list and now mandates that chicken raisers with over 100,000 chickens and slaughterhouses with the capacity for over 4,000 chickens a day disclose their quantity, stocks, and sales cost each month. The Central Committee on Prices of Goods and Services now requires all 55 domestic feed meal factories to list their sales costs, production volume, and stocks, as well as obtain approval from the Internal Trade Department before raising their products' prices. Sounds like someone's been reading a bearded person's manifesto. The Commerce Minister thanked chicken farmers and producers who agreed to freeze their prices. He said the Internal Trade Department has yet to approve higher prices for electric appliances. The 51 items on the state price control list are primarily essential items that people use daily. 46 of them are products, while 5 are services. Once chicken and chicken meat are approved, the number of items will be 52. The committee is extending price control on face masks, materials used to make face masks, products with hygienic alcohol, waste paper, and recycled paper for another year. The cabinet is also allocating 1.48 billion baht from the central budget to fund relief measures for consumers for 3 months. Other foods on the state price control list include wheat, flour, milk, vegetable oil, and pork. And that is all for our report. Thailand News Today will be back tomorrow. Meanwhile, you're now up to date on the Thaiger.